All right, there, guys, coaches, trainers. Actually, today, this is for your more established youth fitness business owners. I'm so excited. Coach Julie here from the IYCA with Coach Jim himself in the room. Coach, it's good to see you again.
You too, Julie. I can't wait for this question because this is a big one for people trying to grow their businesses.
This is a big one. And I know it's a big struggle for a lot of established and growing businesses is, when you start bringing staff into the game, right? When you are no longer wearing all of the hats yourself and you're actually delegating your services and the opportunity to other people, how do you help that staff of yours, those trainers, those coaches become more independent in the programming and just the craft of coaching? That's the question for today. So I know this is a big one, Jim, but no one better to answer it and bring some insight around this. So I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think?
All right. Well, I think this is one of those topics that we'll probably go more in depth on, like in the future. Maybe I think we're going to try to organize maybe like live events and some additional trainings around this, because this is what we talk about when we're dealing with people trying to grow their business, when we do like masterminds and stuff like that. And it's tricky because it's not the same for everyone. But I like to think of like the staff development, getting staff to do this stuff as almost like driver's training. And what I mean by that is, in driver's training, you don't just like put a kid in the car and then you go and you let them go. There's work beforehand, and the work beforehand is going to be you teaching your staff what you do and how you do it and what you believe in, if this is your business and you own the business. So you're going to have principles in which you do all of your training, and your staff needs to understand those principles. We happen to use mainly stuff from the IYCA to help our whole staff understand the principles of training, because the stuff that we teach in the IYCA materials is amazing. So we utilize that with in our staff development. And I encourage you to do that too. It's there, it's ready for you. You don't have to make stuff up all the time. Then you kind of hold their hands. In driver's training, they start off in a neighborhood. So for you can have a trainer kind of join you in a training session, and maybe they're doing part of it with you. They're probably going to need to observe first, because most kids learning how to drive have watched their parents drive or their friends or somebody, so they kind of get the feel of it. Then they get to try it out on a small basis with somebody helping them, and after each drive in driver's training, the coach will give the kids feedback. It's going to be the same way with you. You're going to give them some feedback, try to accentuate the things that they are doing correctly and that you like, so that they do more of those things. But then you're going to also have to point out any obvious errors. And eventually, this is the hard part, you're going to have to let them go. And you got to let a kid, like at some point, they got their license, you gave them the keys, like you can't be driving next to them down the road, to go pick up their friends. You have to let them go, and you're going to have to let your coaches do it. You don't want to put them in a position where they're going to, fail. So don't put them, with somebody that they're not ready for, or don't, throw them into something they're not ready for. But if you've done all these things with them, they're ready. And when they're done, talk to them about it. How do you feel that went, and what could you do differently? And then we talk about this all the time. We have principles of how to make a bigger impact, and how we are different in our training centers. And we talk about it in staff meetings, and talk about how we can accentuate those things. So continue doing that in your staff meetings, staff development, while you're talking to coaches, so that you're continuing to sharpen your saws all the time.
Jim, like I'm drawing a parallel here to the athletes that we train, right? First, it's kind of lead by doing. They're watching you do, they're watching you perform and give the specific form and all of that. And then it's lead by like delegating. Now it's your turn,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to watch and really walk alongside you in this until you're ready. And then it's like lead by like stepping away and
Yeah.
giving them the chance to fail forward and the chance to kind of make the mistakes, because in those mistakes are coaching opportunities, right?
Yeah.
That's where you can come in as their mentor and their coach and say, hey, look, what happened there? How can we adjust? What does that look like next time? So it's really taking what we already do in the business and just applying it to a different context or a different outcome that we're trying to get. Is that kind of what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever coached a sport, like this, pretty much what it is, you can't go out there and, make the shot for kids. They have to do it, and then you can talk to them about, was that the right shot? What did you do? And if somebody misses a shot, like they missed the shot, and it's the same way in your business. You just want to make sure that they have good shot selection, so that you're putting them in a position to succeed as often as possible, and that builds confidence. And once you have staff, people on your staff that are confident and know that you have taught them, and that they have confidence in what they're doing, it's amazing. It's the best thing in the world.
Just a follow-up question here, Jim, around this concept of just training your staff to be really independent of you and really take the reins and the wheel, so to speak. What would you say to the coach who struggles? Like, it's been your baby for so long, right? This business has been your baby, and now you have to let pieces of it go. What would you say in those moments for those coaches? Any insight around just that kind of emotional connection to your business and what it feels like to let it go, and how to actually work through that?
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, and I've actually suggested to many coaches that they don't bring on staff. And you have to kind of look at yourself, like, is that going to be like too hard for you? Do you not want to do that? Do you not like the idea of having other people that you have to deal with and talk to and develop? And a lot of coaches that I've consulted with, when we start sifting through this, in the end of the conversation, they say, you know what? I think I'm better off with this just being me. Great. Now you know that. Like, you don't have to have staff. For a lot of coaches and trainers, they're probably better off just it being them. They have control of everything. They know things are done the way they want them to do. Cool. Been a lot of successful businesses that way. But if you are somebody that wants to have a staff, you're going to have to let go and realize that it's not just about you. It's about impacting more people and developing your business. And it's not going to be exactly the way you want it every single time, because other people aren't you, and your staff doesn't need to be you. Not everybody wants to be you. And that's great. They can be themselves, and you have to appreciate that and understand that everybody's going to bring something different to the table.
And sometimes the different is better, right? It's better than
100%.
maybe what you can do. So there's just so many different ways, but I love what you said. Like, it doesn't have to be, if you want to grow, it doesn't have to be a whole big team of staff. There's a lot of different ways to define your success and what success means to you. So getting
Absolutely.
grounded in what success means, and then putting the pieces of the puzzle together around what it means for you specifically as a coach.
Yep.
So good, Jim. Well, if you are listening to this, if you do have staff, Jim and I would love to know, place the number below. How many staff members do you have? Are you in the, 1 to 2 range? Do you have 3 to 5? How big is your team? Jim mentioned earlier in this conversation that he trains his entire team around a number of the IYCA resources, and we can bundle those up for you guys as business owners and really help you give those specific resources that Jim uses himself to your team, which obviously will remove a lot of the guesswork and help you elevate your team a lot quicker. So if you have a team, just go ahead, comment below with the number of team members that you have, and we'll be in touch. But Jim, as always, thank you for your insight, your perspective, and just everything you bring to the table. I think you're such, a great example of what success can look like, but also the ability to be agile in what you're creating, to really make it work for you and what success needs to mean for you. So thank you for sharing today.
I've made more mistakes than everybody, so it's easier to talk about this kind of stuff. And I appreciate you bringing all this up, Julie.
Awesome. Well, until next time, okay?
Thanks.